This is Andy Purewal for Boxing Social in association with Betfred, and I am delighted to be joined by Jordan, the Thrill Girl, over Zoom. Jordan, how are you doing?
I'm good, mate. Thank you. How are you?
I'm all good. It's good to catch up. Obviously, on the back of Leigh's win, a good friend of yours this past weekend, and to get an update with the situation you currently find yourself in with your own career. Let's just start off with Leigh, though. Obviously, as we say, a very good friend of yours, overcoming Jukan in emphatic fashion on Saturday night, stopped him in the 12th round, but was relatively comfortable throughout. Just take me back to that night and your reflections on Leigh's performance and his win.
I think it was a fantastic performance. I knew he'd win. I told everybody, but to win in that fashion was spectacular. I thought he didn't really put a foot wrong, and he just battered him from pillar to post from the start. From bell to bell, he just battered him, didn't he? So I was so happy for him. I was just over the moon that night. It was like, it almost brought me to tears, because obviously I know the struggle that we both had to get to the situations we were in, and obviously he's world champion now. He's done it all. He's completed British, Commonwealth, WBO European, and now world champion. You think, I remember staying with him the week that he had his debut, his fight week. I think he was 22, maybe 23. And we stayed in this. We shared a bed. We both woke up with wet backs because the room was that damp. It was a horrible little dingy place that we stayed in, and you think like we used to go away on training camp and share meals and stuff because we couldn't afford one each. And now he's world champion. He's gonna make a load of dough, and he's gonna be banging on the door for unifications and probably knocking them all out.
Jordan, what was your emotions like on the night? I know obviously you was there, you was in attendance. So what was it like watching Leigh produce that performance?
It was just, I can't describe the feeling. It was like I just felt so. I just felt just pure happiness for him. I knew how big it was, and even though it weren't like I didn't expect him to win. I expected him to win, but he made a statement, and when it's a one thing expecting somebody to win, and then another thing somebody actually doing it, and then having it, like, it's that where it sinks in. And yeah, it was so good from start to finish. The emotion, I was just buzzing for him. And yeah, as seeing it, I was glad to be able to get into the change room after to obviously congratulate him and remind him of when we woke up in that bed with wet backs because of the damp. So yeah, all the hard times are all going to be worth it now for him. And he works hard and he deserves it. And fair play as well to Ben Davison and the team down at MTK Performance Centre, with Ben Davison, Lee Wiley, Barry Smith. They all played the part, even all the lads down there sparring and stuff. Brilliant. Can't fault them.
Just on Jukan, was you surprised by his performance? I think a lot of people just expected to see more from him. Everybody spoke beforehand about him being a volume puncher, and it wasn't something we saw during the fight.
Yeah, well, I was surprised that he didn't put his foot down on the gas a little bit more, but I think just knowing the way that Leigh punches and seeing the fight unfold, it was the case where he just did not want to, because every time Leigh hit him, he was hurting him. That stab to the body just kept him in base. So Leigh would go to work, and usually Kanzu with other opponents would reply straight away. But as soon as Leigh done his work, stabbed down to the body, and it just halted his momentum, and he had to reset and then go again. It was just a continuous pattern. Kanzu was getting hurt with every shot. He couldn't really get close to Leigh because Leigh controlled the distance so well. He was in and out. He took that range away. He took when you're going with a fight, you have to take the best assets away, and he took away Kanzu's volume. If you take away Kanzu's volume, I've been looking at him in the build up to this fight, or probably for the last year, in case I got to fight him. And you study somebody and you know what they bring to the table. And apart from his volume, he's an average fighter at world level. Obviously he's a very good fighter, but at world level, if you take away his volume, then you see what you saw on Saturday night.
Now, you mentioned you'd been studying him just in case you got the opportunity to face him yourself. Now, just touch on that for me, Jordan, because in commentary on Saturday, it was mentioned that Jukan was offered you and Leigh Wood, and he opted to face Leigh. I didn't know that. So, can you just kind of reflect or expand on that situation when it did occur?
Yeah, I think Golden Boy come on to Eddie to get a fight for Kanzu. I think his contract run out with Golden Boy is sometime in August, so they needed to get him out to keep him in contract. They said, "Can you put him on one of your shows in Britain, whether we fight a Brit or not?" Obviously, Eddie would want him to fight a Brit, so he offered me and Leigh Wood, and they chose Leigh. So it's down to them. And obviously, I think either one of us, if they chose either one of us, the same outcome would happen. Obviously, in different ways, but I think either way, Kanzu was losing his belt that night. But Leigh done a very good job, and if it was my chance, I would have got the job done. But as well, I'm glad it's Leigh because I'm ranked well in a few governing bodies. I know I'm going to get a chance. Leigh was 33 on Sunday. This was the perfect time for him to win that belt, and he's going to capitalise on it now. Be getting some big fights, and I'm getting that European, and I'm just getting started.
Let's talk about a rematch clause. Just a final thing on it. Talk about a rematch clause between Leigh and Zhu Kan. And from the report, it seems Zhu Kan's going to look to activate that. If that does prove to be true and he does activate it, what be your thoughts on seeing it a second time round?
I'll be very surprised. I'll be very, very, very surprised if they take that rematch, because end of the day, it's gonna have to be in America because it's gonna Golden Boy has the clause where they'll be able to they'll have to put that fight on, which in turn means that Golden Boy's gonna have to pay for that fight. So if your man has just got battered the way he did for 12 rounds and then stopped 17 seconds before the last bell, why would you want to pay for it to happen again? Like, you just sort of, for me, that's what I think. Unless they think, do you know what, he's had 2 years out of the ring, he didn't perform to his best, and he can do a better job next time. But I'd be very surprised if he could.
Jordan, moving on to yourself now. All of about a month and a half ago, all the talk was you getting ready for your shot at the European title to face Andoni Gago. And then soon after that talk, a fight was announced between Andoni Gago and Karim Guerfi, who was most recently unsuccessful in a fight with Lee McGregor, who stopped him in the first round. Just kind of explain that entire situation and break it down for me to how you haven't ended up getting this fight, Jordan.
Yeah, it's a funny one. Boxing's a mad sport and frustrating at times. But yeah, I was mandatory for the European title. Um, I was expecting Eddie or Matchroom to announce my fight with Andoni Gago that particular week. And the very next day, I got out the ring, climbed out the ring, looked at my phone, Twitter was buzzing, and I saw a poster thinking, okay, yep, they've announced it, brilliant. I was expecting to fight, I think it was September the 11th in Bilbao in Spain. So I looked at the poster and my face wasn't on it. It was someone else's face. I was like, oh, what's going on here? So I think basically what they didn't want to fight me next, or they didn't want to fight me at all. They wanted a voluntary defence. So they've asked the EBU for a voluntary defence. They granted it because he boxed Gavin McDonald, who was his mandatory in his last fight. And then, they've made the fight with Gurphy. And I think that was, it was all a bit last minute. And they sort of blindsided everybody. Eddie didn't know, and we didn't know. So it's one of them things. I'm gonna have to wait for the winner of that fight, and I think it's a very hard fight for Gago because Gurphy can box. I know he got blown away in a round by Leigh McGregor, but I think Leigh McGregor is a world-class fighter, and there's a lot of reports saying that Gurphy was dead at the weight. So as soon as he got touched to the body, he saw what happened. He went on the floor. But I'm not saying that McGregor wouldn't have done that anyway because he is a class fighter. He's another one of Ben Davidson's starlets and one that I expect to win a world title under Ben Davison in the near future. And he's such a nice lad. So yeah, one of those things frustrating, but hopefully we'll see the result of that fight in a couple of weeks' time. I think that's August 13th in Spain on a MGZ promotion card. Not sure if we can watch the fight or not, but I'm sure we'll see the result online somewhere. And hopefully, I'll get a fight in the meantime before I can challenge for that European, which shouldn't be too long away.
Before we do come on to the meantime, Jordan, are you confident that regardless of the result between Gago and Guerfi, you will then step in to face the winner of that bout?
Yeah, well, I'm mandatory, and the winner has to fight me next. That's what my understanding from the EBU. The winner has to fight me next. So um, it's got to happen unless they vacate, and then I'll fight the next in line, or the next in line, or the next in line. It will go down and see who fancies it, I guess.
You mentioned in the meantime, then, Jordan, what are the discussions about trying to get you out waiting for the EBU title shot to come around?
Your guess is as good as mine, mate. I'm in the gym. I'm ready to go. I think I'd like to fight in September. If they can get me out in September, I've got a WBA international that I can defend. If not, another fight. But I need to be fighting quality opposition, and I need to be kept active and kept in the public's eye, because I've got no doubt that I will get to the position that Leigh got to last weekend, whether it's IBF, WBO, WBC, whatever. I feel like I will be fighting for a world title soon, and I feel ready. So just keep stepping up levels, get this European. I think there's something to learn at every level. I'm looking forward to winning and holding the European title, and then looking to getting eliminators for other world titles.
Jordan Moscow, just a few things I want to touch on. One card in September, which you may well be able to get on if an opponent can be found, is the Warrington Lara 1, the rematch. So Lara Warrington 2, rather. Just get your thoughts on that fight. What do you think will happen this time around?
It's a great fight. It can go one or two ways. I can think it could be complete opposite what happened last time. Warrington could really switch on. It could get his head in gear, and the crowd behind him could lift him to victory. And I think it'd still be an hard fight, but I could see him, you know, being a bit more switched on, being a bit sharper, and you know, winning the rounds and getting a points victory. But at the same time, I could see a repeat of what happened before, because at the end of the day, Lara's hit him and he's hurt him. So once you've hit somebody and you hurt them, you know you can hurt them with every shot, and he can really whack that Lara. It's how that win has boosted him, how that win has affected him confidence wise. We'll see, but these Mexicans are a problem. I've boxed a few now, and every single one of them that comes over, they just want to hit you and hurt you with every single shot. They want to take your head off, and they turn their whole. They got a weird fight, so they just turn their whole body into the shots because they want to hurt you that bad. Nasty little men, nasty, horrible people, but lovely nation.
Jordan, just a word as well on Hopey Price. He obviously makes his ring return next weekend. How's his camp been?
Excellent, excellent. He's been really good. He's looked fantastic in sparring. Very, very good. He stepped up the levels big time. He's getting very regular sparring with good, solid fighters. Fighters that aren't just one weight above, possibly two weights above. And dealing with people in a fashion that not many people do. He's been working on his inside game. He's been working on nullifying big punches, short guys, tall guys. He's a very well-rounded individual, and he's been working hard in the gym with Dave. He's been working hard in the gym with Danny Wilson at Boxing Science Strength Conditioning place, and he's been consistent. And it's going to take a very, very hard man to beat him. It's not going to happen anytime soon. I promise you that, because he will go to world level before people can blink. I think he'll set through levels. I think he's going to be fighting Fight Camp. That's an 8-rounder. Bearing in mind he's only had four fights. He's going to be straight into an 8-rounder. Then the next fight after that's going to be a 10-round title fight, and only a few weeks after, and then he's at championship level within 6 fights. So I think within 10 fights, he'll have had a British title fight, won that, and be looking on to bigger and better things. So by the time he's 22, 23, probably say 22. He'll 23. Sorry. By the time he's 23, he'll be an established fighter at world level, and it'll be a problem for anyone.
Final thing, I've seen a couple of photos now of Derek Chisora knocking about in the gym. Is he back with you guys, or is he just kind of ticking over?
Big Dale's back, no mercy. He's he's been in the gym this week. I'm not sure what arrangement he's got with Dave, whether he's up here for good or not. I've not asked. But I've been to the gym twice this week. It's Tuesday, and both times he's been there. So that's probably a good indicator that he's back in training, back with Dave, and looking forward to probably another big fight. So it's exciting. It's always good to have Dale around. He's a big character, and he's always involved with big fights. So, it's good for the lads to have another one in the gym. There's more banter.
Right, Jordan, we will leave it there now. Leave you to enjoy the rest of your day. I appreciate your time. Thank you, Speak to Boxing Social.
Cheers, Andy. Sorry I was delayed. The dog's done a massive poo and I had to clear it up.
It's all good, mate. Have a good one.
See you later, mate.